it's normal for an administration to replace U.S. attorneys. Karl Rove and Harriet Myers composed a longer list of individuals that they were recommending to be replaced. You actually only replaced a smaller portion of that list, whom were all Republican. Why do you think Democrats made such a big political issue of it, and after the Inspector General's office found no evidence of criminal wrongdoing, did any of the politicians apologize to you?
My wife would really like to answer this question. You know, when I became Attorney General, I was asked by Harriet Myers, who had succeeded me as White House counsel, about the possibility of replacing all the U.S. attorneys. They're political appointees. They serve for a term of 4 years. They can be removed by statute at the President's pleasure. And obviously at the beginning of a second term, you look at rewarding certain people and bring them into the administration, bring in new blood, get rid of some of the people that hadn't done, quite frankly, as good a job as we had hoped. And so I directed my senior team to do an evaluation, performance evaluation of U.S. attorneys. Unfortunately, it was a process that took way too long because by the time that it had been completed, I had made the decision to remove, I think it was 7 U.S. attorneys in December of 2006. The Democrats had won control, I think, of the Senate, maybe not the House. But I made the decision to remove these 7 because my team recommended it, and we felt this was the best thing to do for the department. Well, probably within 2 months, this became a huge political firestorm. The Democrats were saying that these had been removed for political reasons, improper political reasons. And it is true that Senator Pryor from Arkansas went on the Senate floor, called me a liar. Of course, Congress did all kinds of investigations. The Inspector General did multiple investigations, and in the end, it was all about nothing. I think of the 7, the Inspector General found that 2 had been engaged in gross mismanagement of their office, so they had to go. The one from San Diego had been insubordinate. She didn't care about gun prosecutions or immigration prosecutions, and this is in a border district. We had a U.S. attorney who was engaged in self-dealing in Washington, so that person had to go. The U.S. attorney in Arizona tried to implement an interrogation policy that would bind the country nationwide, the Department of Justice nationwide, so he was unsubordinate. So that the Inspector General of the 7 found 5 very legitimate, strong reasons that should go. One from Nevada, the Inspector General really couldn't find a legitimate reason why he should go, but couldn't find an illegitimate reason, no improper reason. And then finally, the most troubling one was a gentleman out of New Mexico. And at the end of the day, the Inspector General found no evidence of wrongdoing because it involved possibly the White House. General McCasey, my successor as the Attorney General, appointed a special prosecutor. The special prosecutor then investigated the White House, and again, the conclusion was no finding of anything improper. So at the end of the day, I'd say probably about 99% of it was pure political.
But did Senator Pryor or any of these individuals, which some of them said really, really awful things, you know, out of such distinguished service, etc., and as I previously said, they were all Republican appointees. Did any of them apologize to you after such a thing?
No, and you know, that's part of the problem in Washington as far as I'm concerned. Public service should not be this hard. I think it's fair to be criticized for what you actually do. That's perfectly legitimate. You know, I think if there are questions that are raised, it's perfectly legitimate to do an investigation, to look into things, but this was a political act in my judgment, and I think it stems from a number of reasons. One, by this time, you know, I think the Iraq War was not as popular. President Bush was not as popular. Democrats had now won control, and they were anxious to somehow, they wanted to flex their muscles, and they couldn't take down the president, so they went after someone who was viewed as a close friend of the president. And I think that was part of it, quite frankly.